Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today is session two, the customer journey of our Service Operations Workspace Adoption Series. Glad to have you along for the ride and to get started. Today, we'll start with a quick safe harbor statement. So as you know, we may be showing some things or talking about some things that are forward-looking here about the product. And when we do that, we're always talking about those things from the best knowledge that we have today. They do indicate our actual plans, but as things happen, they can change. And so we want to make sure that you understand that you shouldn't be making any investment decisions based off the forward-looking information that we're sharing today. A little quick housekeeping. Three things. First of all, do know that we've saved time for Q&A at the end, but also you can do Q&A throughout the session, either during the session or at the end of the session. Please make sure to use the Q&A button versus the chat. Right. So if you look at Zoom, two options there. You've got the Q&A and you've got the chat. Please use the Q&A because it'll allow the other members of our team to be able to respond for you quite easily. Number two, this presentation is being recorded and will be shared following the event, and that includes having a copy of this presentation deck for you to be able to review afterwards. And then number three, after the event, we'll be sending you a short survey to fill out. If you would, please take a quick look at it and give us the information regarding what we can do going forward to make it better for you, to make sure that we're providing the right information, and how we can continue to ensure that you're getting what you need. My name is Eric. I'm a senior staff outbound product manager here at ServiceNow. I have about 20 years worth of experience in the ITSM industry, ranging from R&D, product management, professional services, support, and more. I'm really excited to have the chance to meet with you all today and looking forward to it. Also with me today is my partner in crime, Keka, and I'll pass to Keka for a moment.
Thanks, Eric. Good morning, everybody. My name is Keki Shinose. I am a product manager here in the Source Operations Workspace area in ITSM. My focus is the side of incident management, interaction management, and request management, among other things. And yeah, I've been at ServiceNow for about 5 years now. Had an initial focus on one of our DevOps products that was a joy to work on. I previously also had experience inside of kind of the DevOps landscape before it was called that back in the early mid 2000s and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun, but really glad to be here. Really glad to walk you through some of the stuff we're doing inside Service Operations Workspace. All right, hand it back to you, Eric.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. Now, before we get started, I just want to kind of take one moment to remind you that this is part of the Live on ServiceNow event series. There's a lot of great content coming up in the future as well. So if you have a moment, please pull out your phone and your camera, take a quick shot of the QR code on the right-hand side, and that will link you off to our schedule of future events. We'll also share a link a little later in the chat for you today, but there's a lot of great content coming, and please come along with us. So here's our agenda for this particular session. Pretty simple process. Number one, we're going to start with a quick overview of Service Operations Workspace in terms of how we position it and how we want you to think about it. Then we'll go into the adoption journey. So this is the process that our users walk through or go through in order to be able to stand this up and get the most value out of it. It's a 4-phase process of the foundation phase, crawl phase, walk phase, run phase. We'll walk through that and give you examples of what fits into each of those phases. And then we'll have 2 demos. The first one I'll do for you, which is some of the attributes of the foundation phase work that you do. So you'll see what that looks like in terms of getting your foundation phase up and running. And then I'll pass to Keka, and Keka will demo out of the crawl phase to give you some information from there. And then lastly, we'll give you a few extra resources to look through and open it up for any Q&A that you need. So that's our plan for this particular session. Let's jump right in. Now, before we do, I want to start with an analogy. And the idea of the analogy is to give you a sense of how we look at the value that Service Operations Workspace provides. Okay? So come along with me on this one. I want you to take a moment and just imagine that you're responsible for cooking a big holiday meal for your extended family. And just imagine that as you're doing this, some of your tools and ingredients are in the kitchen. Some of them are probably out in the storage room down the hall. Some of them might be out in a bin outside, and some of those groceries you just bought might still be sitting in the backseat of the car. Because of this, you're going to be running back and forth to get that different set of tools and ingredients as you go through. And this causes you to lose time and lose focus running back and forth through that. The result of that is the food comes out late, undercooked maybe, overcooked maybe, or even missing key ingredients. Now, let's flip that around. Imagine you have everything in the kitchen that you need, right? The ingredients are there, the tools are there, everything you need is, and you work faster. you make fewer mistakes, and you've got the time to actually get creative with what you're doing and serving up to your guests. So the analogy here is that in ServiceNow, Service Operation Workspace is that well-stocked kitchen for you. It brings everything together that you need to deliver exceptional experience to your customers. And the result is faster resolutions for those customers, higher quality, and lower costs for your organization. So looking at Service Operations Workspace, just a quick view, you can see, hey, we've got access to good metrics. We can see the actual incidents that we're working in this point. I can come in here and not only see work that's assigned to my team, but I can also see work that's assigned to myself. And from there, I can click on my different metrics and see for the unassigned incidents, hey, what's their status? How many are planning? How many are critical? I can even drill in onto those incidents that I'm working right here, see everything I need to see about it, and leverage tools like Agent Assist, Experts on Call, and be able to easily get the help that I need at any time throughout the process. So this really is a single place to quickly access all of the tools that you need to provide great service. This allows you to act strategically by understanding what's the next most important thing to do. You can analyze intelligently by using AI embedded with the experience and work efficiently. Everything is there on one screen, no context switching. You have access to AI summaries of complex work history, and you know who's available and on call, not just for this time, but for this geo and for this specific type of topic that you're working on. So a great centralized place for all the information you need. So we're about to jump into the rest of the content, but before we do, one thing that would help us would be able to understand where you are currently in your Service Operations Workspace adoption journey. So Digant, if you could, please go ahead and put up the poll. And if you could, just take a moment and fill and let us know where you are. Are you just starting? Are you going to be doing it in a while? Do you not know yet?
Yep,
I can see that. Yep, I can see that the results are coming in. I'm going to give it about 10 seconds for everybody to have a chance to click, and then we're going to kind of move forward. Okay. So Digant, I think we've got a pretty good sense of where this is landing. It's about 43% of you have already begun, about 25% planning to deploy in the next 6 months, 6% in the next year. A quarter of you all looking to mature your existing use of Service Operation Workspace, which is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And then a little less than 10% of you still don't have the plan to adopt. So that gives us a sense of where you're at, and that helps us a lot. So we'll put the results on screen momentarily. And off we go. Okay, so as we talk about Operations Workspace, there are essentially 3 use cases that we can talk about. The first one is an ITSM Tier 1 agent only type of use case. So just talking about what that Tier 1 agent does and uses the product for. The other one is an ITSM all personas use case, where we're talking about a workflow that goes from the Tier 1 agent all the way across to things like problem managers, change managers, et cetera, like that. And then finally, there's the ITSM and ITOM better together. So service management and operations management being tied together through Service Operations Workspace, which is where a ton of the value of this functionality comes in. But for today, we're going to follow the old keep it simple premise, and we're going to focus just on the ITSM Tier 1 agent only user story. As we do that, there are certain key features that are used in this particular use case, right? Obviously, one of those is Service Operations Workspace for ITSM, but also AI Agent Assist, Incident, Request, Interaction, and Self-Service, including Agent Chat. So this isn't all of it, but this gives you a flavor of what the common items are out there. And then next is, let's talk about that actual journey. What are the steps? What are the 4 phases that we go through in terms of planning out the journey and executing it? So the adoption journey that users of Service Operations Workspace go through are, number 1, the foundation phase, where essentially you configure the fundamental building blocks that enable success. This is very, very basic. Number 2 is the crawl phase, where you start introducing core capabilities and leveraging them out. Number 3 is the walk phase. That's where you extend those use cases across different staff functions. So instead of just maybe the front desk agent, you're also talking about problem and change. And then number 4 is run, where we use AI and automation to drive efficiencies and continuous improvement. So that's the high level of the 4 phases. What I want to do now is dig into each of these and let you see some of the components that make it up, so you kind of get a better sense of the work that's to be done. So foundation phase, which is the component that I'll be talking to you about today and demoing, It's basic types of things here. Configuration primarily, configuring the landing pages, the forms and lists, the key metrics that our team are going to be using, and also branding the system. So making it look like it's part of your company as opposed to a third-party application. The second phase is crawl. And in here, this is where you deploy Service Operation Workspace for your agents, resolvers, and fulfillers. And you start using things like chat, interaction, incident request, knowledge, and you do ITIL standard change management. Right? That's kind of the first phase of it. Once you get through the crawl phase, then you move into the walk phase. And this is where you can start deploying modern change. And this includes change models, dynamic approvals, automatic risk calculations, change success scores, a lot of great stuff, as well as major incident management, on-call scheduling, and collaboration through a lot of different tools. And then finally, phase 4, which is run. And this is where you start doing things like problem management, task intelligence, and using playbooks for automation and process action. Okay? So this is the high-level process that we see the vast majority of our customers go through, and it gives you a sense of the stages as you grow into the functionality. Now, to give you an example, here's a well, before I go there, these are the foundation. These are the 3 things that I'm going to be demoing to you here in a few moments. But I also want to show you an example of what a real customer is doing, which is IBM. So this is IBM's slide. They presented it this year at Knowledge, and this gives you a sense of where they are. Anything with a check mark is something that they've implemented. Anything with a box is something that's still in progress, and anything with an arrow is their future project. And you can see they've made it successfully through what they call the crawl, walk, and into the run phase before they get to the fly. So this is kind of the way they reterm it, but they've got Service Operation Workspace up and running for their L1 agents using interactions, incident knowledge, and walk-up experience. They've begun modern change in walk phase, major incident. And then when they get to the run phase, they've got 2 deployed already, which is agent assistant problem. And they're beginning the work around alert, platform analytics, et cetera, right? And the fly, which is where they do other items such as agentic AI and playbooks, that's still in the future for them. So you can see, again, this is a 4-stage journey that customers walk through, and it gives you a good structure for you to think about how you're going to deploy this over time. Okay, so with that said, I want to go into the foundation phase, and I want to show you kind of 4 different things. Number 1, we're going to do some branding. We're going to create a theme and deploy it. Number 2 is we're going to do some communication. We're going to create a banner announcement and deploy that as well. In terms of visibility, we're going to make some changes to the dashboard to provide agents with actionable metrics. And then lastly, we'll do some simplification work where we're going to provide quick links to provide agents with access to important resources that they need at their fingertips. So that's the plan. Let me switch over now and get into the system. So we're going to be using 2 different personas today. One, here you'll see I'm logged into the system as a system administrator. And number 2, I'm logged in here as as Amelia Bryant, who is a service desk agent. And we're going to be switching back and forth between these as we go along. But let's start here with the system administrator view. And what I want to do is I want to start by setting up a theme to match your company's branding. All right, so we're going to walk through an example of that. And the first thing we need to do is we need to go and configure a landing page, and then the dashboard and all that kind of good stuff to make that happen. So we'll start by going to Theme Builder, and that's easy to find. We can just come here to All, type in Theme, and here's Theme Builder. And this is a really nice experience because it just walks you through the process. As you can see, everything you need is right here. So I'm going to start just by clicking Create a Theme. I'm going to continue. And I'm going to give this theme a name. Now, my hypothetical company or fictional company I'm going to use today is called Myco, right? So I'm going to give it the Myco theme and click Next. And now I'm going to start matching the branding colors of my system with that of the company, right? So my company starts with a key dark blue bordering on purple color. So I'm just going to choose that here. And I'm going to click Apply, and you'll see it'll start applying in the example on the right to the top banner. Right, so now it's gone from those grays and blacks to a blue. Next, what's my company's second color? Right, so I can come in here again, and I can pick a different color. I'm going to pick a kind of a lighter purple, and you'll see it's shown that color here on the right-hand side. And I'm going to apply it and go Next. I can add a neutral brand color, which I'll leave that as gray. If I want to add additional colors for different objects, I can, but I'm going to skip that. And now it's time to change the logo. So if you notice, I'm going to switch back over here. Up here at the top, you can see that we've got the Electri logo here, but that's not my company. I want to use mine. So I'm going to go ahead and upload my company logo. And you'll see here in the example, it's already changed to MyCorp. And I'm going to click Next. Here I have the option to choose different fonts, but I'm going to just stick with the Sans Pro. And then lastly, I'm going to get the ability to change some of the corner shapes. And you'll see these throughout the application. The square ones are nice and sharp, but I kind of like them a little more rounded and softer. So I'm going to choose that. And now I'm done. I just simply have to review what I've put together in terms of my colors, my fonts, and the rounding, and I create the theme. All right, and here we have it. It's all set and ready to go. So for me to deploy this, and again, I can continue to edit here, but I'm going to go ahead and switch from editor to manager. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my new theme, which is down here. And by the way, you'll see up at the top, these are the published themes. Down here are the unpublished themes. So the first thing I need to do is I need to publish this. And now you'll see it's up here, right? And then after that, I'm going to make this default. And that should do it for me. Now I'm going to switch back over here to Amelia, and I'm just going to refresh the screen. Give it just one moment. And you'll see the look and feel now has completely changed, right? The blues are up here as we set up, the grays on the side, and there's my company logo right there, right? So the beauty here is you can make this product look just like it's something internal and makes it very comfortable for your users. Okay, next, let's build a banner. Let's do some communication. Okay, so for doing that, what we're going to do, I'm just going to use my favorites this time, and I'm going to go and configure a UX banner. And to do that, I just come up here and click New. So this is a list of banners that exist now. And I'm going to create a new one. And I'm going to start with my heading. This is what I'm communicating to the team. So I'm going to say something like, let's see, how about inbound email delayed? Okay, so now I've got my banner that I'm going to share with everybody. I can add a summary. I can say what date and time I want this to start. So I'm going to pick there. I can also choose an end date when this will automatically disappear. I can choose the color for the banner at the top, right? I can pick a critical or high, which is going to give me this bright red glaring type of banner. But this isn't all that dramatic. So I'm just going to pick a nice positive one here. It's going to give a green color. And then I can create a link to that if I wanted to have them click on this and link off to some other information. I can make the banner non-dismissible. So for example, I don't want that banner to be able to be clicked away. I can force that. And then I can also choose who gets to see this. Everybody, specific users or groups, etc. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to add one quick announcement config for the unified navigation and submit it. And as you'll see, as I did that, it already updated my banner here. And you'll even see it over here on Amelia. So inbound email delayed, exchange issue, operations investigating. So real quick way to communicate out to your team critical issues or things that they need to do or know. Because I did not make this non-dismissible, I can come over here and click that and have it go away. So that's creating a banner. It's quick and easy. The next thing I want to do is I want to be able to update this landing page's metrics for something that is specific to my teams and organization, right? So as you notice, we've got these donuts here. And as I click on the donuts, it modifies what I see down here in the bottom, right? So it's specific to that list. Not only that, I can see my work, but I can also see my team's work. What I'd like to do is I'd like to add another tab here for specific critical incidents, or excuse me, for critical metrics that are important to my particular team. And my team is the MyCo North America service desk. So let's go about that process and show how we do that. So I'm going to switch back over now to the system administrator view. And I'm going to this time go to the Service Operation Workspace Overview Administration screen. And this is a real easy place to begin your foundation work, right? So when we talk about the phases, foundation, crawl, walk, run, this is where foundation really fits in, because here you can do your initial setup work, set up incident interaction management, incident management, problem management, all those different things. They're all accessible to you here. But today, we're just going to go here to initial setup and configure. And what I want to do is I want to add, again, a tab with a new metric for me to be able to have to track stuff for my team. And that's, remember, I told you they were called donuts. So it's right here, the donut configurations. We're going to click on that. And we'll take just a minute for it to fill out the screen. My internet connectivity is clearly not great today, so I apologize for that. And what I want to do, so this is the view that you were seeing a few moments ago, just without the data, right? The incidents that are assigned to me, a widget for that, incident SLAs, unassigned incidents, all that kind of good stuff, right? So what I want to do is I want to take this particular dashboard and I want to duplicate it and then modify it for my needs and then publish it. So let's do that. We'll start by coming over here and clicking duplicate, and I'll give it a name. So this is Myco North. And I'll duplicate it. That takes just a second. And once it's finished, we'll just do A, and also dismiss that. Now that we've done that, we'll do a quick refresh to make sure everything is where we want it. And I'll come here to the dropdown of the available dashboards, and there's my new one, Myco North America Service Desk. Okay, we'll give that a click. Now, we'll save this to make it the default. And you'll see now it says Myco North America Service Desk, and we'll begin editing it. So this is exactly what we saw before, but now in edit mode, right? You see here's the different widgets for all of those different metrics. Here's the tabs. So I'm just going to add a new tab. And I'm going to name this one Key Metrics. And now that I've done that, I'm going to add a new widget here. So I'm going to add a new element. And I've got a lot of options here. I can do headings and images and lists, but I want a data visualization. And I'm going to take a brand new one. We'll start from scratch. Now, from here, I choose what type of a visualization I want. Do I want an area, scatter, chart, line, step, spleen, Pareto, all sorts of different options. But for today, we're going to do a line one. And now once I've chosen the type of visualization I have, I just have to add data to it. And that's right here, add a data source. Now, what I'd like to do on this one is I'm going to add some incident information. So I'm going to do search for incident. And I'm going to, open it a little bit more. I'm going to choose incidents relating to neither a service nor a CI. So what this essentially does is it'll give me a count of all of the incidents where the process is not aligned it or assigned to an incident, a CI, or a service. And that's really important, especially as we start using AI, because that's the data that helps train the AI on what goes with what. So this is something as a service desk we want to track and make sure that we are getting this done. So when I select that data, you can see that it pops up right there. All I have to do now is add that source. I can save it. And then I share it out to who I want to have it. Right? So typically I'd use a group or something like that, but just for today's demo, I'm going to assign it directly to Amelia, who is that user that we're viewing on the other side, our other persona. And I'll switch back over to her view now. Just refresh the screen. Right now I have two tabs, but after the refresh, here's that third tab with key metrics. And there's my data. So really, really simple stuff to do, right? And so you can add as many tabs and add as many donuts and metrics as you need, and all of that populates in here as needed. Okay, one last thing to show you. I want to show you quick links. And quick links are an easy way to put information at the fingertips of your agents. So those are right here in this section. And what I want to do is I want to be able to give my agent the ability with one click to move to playbooks or a knowledge base or specific instructions that we may have. But just for this particular demonstration, I'll put it out to the ServiceNow community. So I'm just going to add a quick link. I'm going to type in the URL for it. Give it a name that'll show up on and add it. And there you have it. When I click on this, off we go, and it takes us directly to the ServiceNow community, right? But again, this can be any particular spot that you want it to be. All right, so that's my demonstration of the foundation segments. I'm now going to take a pause and I'll pass off to my colleague Keka and let him go from there. Keka, over to you.
Okie doke. Thanks, Eric. Okay, so hopefully you all got some sweet wisdom there on the Service Operations Workspace side there from Eric. We're going to jump over and kind of just do a little bit more of a deeper dive on one scenario. So I'm going to show, we're going to jump in with Beth Anglin, who's one of our service desk agents, and she was just taking a look at an incident inside of her dashboard today, issue with email. So she has that up here and she's going to be scanning around and looking through it. And while that's happening, I'm going to attempt to have a coworker of hers or another fellow employee kind of call in and ask for some help because they need to order a device and they were unable to find the information about the device inside of their portal. So looks like we have a request coming in. So Beth's going to go ahead and take a look at that. She's going to accept this, and that will create us an interaction record. And so she has got into the chat now with Abel, and she's going to kind of give a chat here with him. He has a request here that he'll put into her. He'll do a quick response back. Now, we'll pretend that, the thing with chat is that it's an asynchronous kind of form of communication. So they may respond right away, they may not. And so while Beth is waiting for Abel to get back to her, she went ahead and is taking a look back at the incident that she was working from before. And while that's happening, Abel is going to actually be kind of he might have stepped away for a cup of coffee or something like that. So he ended up coming back. He was able to respond. And one of the newer features we have that kind of came out in our May store release for SOW is this ability to have information, what we call information session tabs. So if you've got any other chat open, but you're not focused in on that chat, one of the ways you'll be able to know is you can see like it's flashed kind of purple here. So you can see that, hey, there is actually a chat that's come in from this user. And you can even see if he asks for, if he pings again, you can see that counter go up as well too. So you can see the number of chats that are coming in. Now you'll also notice that it just turned yellow. And that's because we've actually set a threshold on the tab here where after 30 seconds, it would turn yellow to kind of let Beth know, hey, you're getting close to a time where you really should be responding here. So if the service desk kind of has a standard in place of they need to respond within a certain amount of time, and in this case, at past 1 minute, it will go red. So we don't have anything tied in specifically around SLAs to this feature yet. It's just mainly for the visual effect and to kind of help service desk agents understand when they've got chats coming in from different places and how to keep up with those. So that's kind of one feature there that we have here for this. So hopefully that is helpful for you all to see. So now Beth's going to go ahead and jump back in, and we can now see also the new messages that have come in. So once you click there, you can see more of the new message that came in from Abel. And so she is going to go ahead and respond here and say, yep. So just going to get some quick details and asking him just to confirm some stuff around an address that he has. And he's going to respond back and say, yep, that is correct. And so she's going to go ahead now and say, needs a new iPhone is what he needs. So I'm gonna make sure I just capture that subject there. for my chat. And what we're going to do is create the request for him because he was unable to find it inside of the knowledge base. So we're going to go here, go to hardware and mobiles, and we will see there's Apple iPhone 13. And so we'll go ahead and actually just give him the Pro for his use. And I will just select a couple of the options here and go ahead and order it for him. And so we'll see a confirmation here. Obviously, you can put in some optional information or special instructions if I'd like, but I'll go ahead and just confirm and do the checkout here. And so right away, I can see that we have got this created here. And if I want to take a look at those details, I can do that. But I will go ahead and let Abel know. Go ahead and just let him know. And on Abel's side, he's going to confirm that he has seen it. And in the chat. And so he's going to go and end the conversation. So now he's just ended the conversation there. And we can see our interaction is now in a closed complete status. So that's one way here that we can kind of see what's going on here. I believe the last time you all saw in your previous session how you went down a different path where you went down creating an incident and you could leverage a lot of the different features down there. And you do still have some of those same features here on the interaction side too, around response templates, the forms, attachments, and even recommendations. So those things are there as well too. I just wasn't going to be going into that in today's demo. All right. Hopefully that was helpful for you all. Now, one thing I'm going to do is kind of change my context a little bit here. I'm going to jump into, I'm going to jump back to the admin kind of persona here. Now, so for configuring that new feature I just showed you around the information session tabs, we are introducing a new configuration for inside of the Service Operations Workspace admin center that we have. Unfortunately, it's not in my instance to demo for you right now, but I will quickly kind of show you where you can also find it elsewhere in the system. So we have a section called Conversational Interface Settings. So you can actually find that. And you would go to Agent Chat since we have it set up under the chat section here. And you'll see Session Tab Settings down below here. And what you do is you select Service Operations Workspace from the list of workspaces that are there. In this case, it's enabled, but if it wasn't, you would just click it, the tab here for Session Tab Enabled, and then you can control your different thresholds if you would like. So by default, we have it set at 30 seconds to go yellow, right? That's the warning, and then critical is red. That's at the 1 minute. So that's how you would be able to set that there. Hopefully that makes sense. And we do have docs for this as well too. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is go take a look at Service Operations Workspace Admin Center because there's one other thing that I want to make sure that I cover here. It is under the initial setup section. So we introduced a new role. Speaking of, service desk, right? That's kind of a big chunk of who we're talking to when it comes to our customers on a day-to-day basis who are leveraging Service Operations Workspace. And we introduced a new role back in February store release timeframe. So it would have been in line with Yokohama. And what it was this new role for service desk agents, explicitly for service desk agents to kind of help provide a kind of a way to basically kind of put those responsibilities that service desk agent would do inside of a role. Because one of the things we've heard was that the ITIL role user, which has been there for a long time, the ITIL role is fairly robust, but it's become kind of expanded over time. And a lot of times we've heard from folks that they do not want to use that. They want to actually cut down and have a very cordoned off set of tasks that the service desk team, as an example, can do. And so we created a role to be able to do that. Now, one of the ways to leverage this is I can go to the service desk agent section here. I can see all available groups and users that are set up here. But one other thing that you may have if you're an existing customer leveraging Service Operations Workspace is if you've been using it, there is a way for us to be able to tell that, hey, this is probably a service desk that you've got. And you probably want to add the service desk agent role to this group already. So in this case, I've got my service desk group that's sitting here on this suggested groups and users section. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the suggestion and add the service desk agent role to it right away. So now I can see it there. Now what will happen is it will add it to the group, But what it'll also show you is any of the users in that group, they will also show up there now. So you can see, okay, who's got the roles here. That way there's no confusion about where it was applied at. So that's where you can see it's all set up there now. And as we see, the suggested little tab has gone away because I kind of filled all of that stuff out there. So that's one way, a very easy way to kind of get this new service desk agent role added on. This will help you with things like if on your when we take a look at something like the incident record, if you want to basically we have the overview tab you may have seen in the previous session. We've heard from service desk teams that it actually is not really useful for them. So you can have a way to hide that experience, hide the overview tab. If you're a service desk agent role user, we call it tier one as well. So you can also that by having this role in place, you can easily make use of a feature like that here. So hopefully that's helpful there. Other configurations that we do have here on the interaction side, there's an interesting feature around, we've heard this from folks where oftentimes the linkage between an interaction to an incident, once it becomes an incident, agents generally don't tend to go back to the interaction. I mean, it may be closed out in some cases. They end up leaving it open depending on the way they have their interface configured. So what we did was we kind of brought in a little bit more of an interactivity there, where when an incident gets resolved, if it originated from an interaction, if you enable this flag here, what it will do is go back into that interaction and move it from an in progress to a close complete state, thereby cleaning up the experience. It also does work if you've got the wrap up capability enabled for interaction as well too. So if you do have wrap up configured, it would then move it instead from in progress to a wrap up state where you can go ahead and then kind of finish up and do some wrap ups if that works for you as well too. So that's some additional tips here for configuring service operations workspace, just specifically around service desk. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Eric.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and bring back the slides. 10 seconds here. All right. Do you have my screen again?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Okay. So just to wrap this up, folks, we want to share with you some resources that are available to you. This is a whole list. This will be in the deck that we're going to publish for you. So don't feel like you have to copy this all down. Each of these is a link. But I do want to just kind of point out a couple of these for you that we think are really strong and worth looking at. The one that I'd most emphasize to you is the Service Operation Workspace Implementation Bootcamp, and it's on demand. This is a 3-day program that walks you through everything you need to know in great detail, and is a great way to ensure that you have success. You'll also find a lot of good product documentation and best practices that are available for you out there. So once this is published in the community, please come back to this deck, click on these links, and dig into these resources for you. All right. So one last poll, and this just helps us get a sense of, are we giving you the content that you need, and are we moving in the right direction? So Digant, would you mind publishing the poll for this one, which is, after the session, are you more likely to adopt or mature your use of Service Operations Workspace? In other words, did this give you tips, tricks, tools that you need to be able to make this happen? About another 10 seconds. All right, Digant, let's go ahead and publish it.
Yep.
So it looks like.
You good? You publish it? Some people are still coming in here, but we'll give it a sec.
Oops, sorry. Yep, there it is.
You're good.
So about 90% of you got value out of this, which is great to hear. So thank you all so much for attending, and thank you for your feedback on this. We truly appreciate it. With that said, I just want to remind you of some resources that are out there for you. Again, so the Impact Team is a great service for you all that can give you the support and expertise you need specific to what you're doing. So this is kind of a step above standard support. Also, there's ServiceNow University, which gives you great, very detailed, individualized training that you need to be able to move forward with all of the different products and services within ServiceNow. And then lastly, there's our expert services team, which can work one-on-one with you to help you implement or design or grow all the different things that you're needing to do. So take a moment, take a screenshot of these items, or come back to the deck, but I would encourage you to explore these resources further in the future. With that said, we've come to the end of our content, and we can take a few more minutes for answering questions if you haven't at this point. So please go ahead and let us know what you'd like for us to talk about with you.
Eric, I just asked in the chat if there's any interest for folks to see the agentic AI stuff. I know you're kind of wrapping things up here, but as we have 20 minutes left, folks,
Yeah.
I think a good amount of you may have been on session one where I alluded to the idea of in the art of possible session, just showing you some of the agentic AI stuff in the roadmap. So happy to show that to you. I see folks are still hanging around, looks like. So about 10 minutes worth of stuff I can show you, but just want to be clear and delineate that this is not part of the basic foundation crawl phase adoption journey. This is more of the run, fly. Agentic AI is not part of your standard licensing, but it'll give you a flavor and a taste of the art of possible what you can achieve with it. So it looks like we got, all right, William and David, thank you for the feedback. Love to see some of it. All right. So I'll see what I can do here. So let me share my screen. I think I have Eric's slide deck up as well. So there we go. Let's see. Got one slider here. Let me unhide this. I will share the screen. Thank you all for the feedback. So we have one slide here that's going to give you an overview of some of the agentic AI that we've released out there. And actually, I want to Keka actually here is working on some of our really cool, comprehensive, like powerful Agent Zero agentic AI stuff that's coming out later this year. So I'll cover this slide, but Keka, I'll hand it to you in a minute too if you want to add anything else from your perspective or lens for folks here. Let me just, I think this slide is taking a second to load. All right, there's a slide here. I think you can all see my screen, yeah? Yep. All right, cool. Sharing that one. All right, so this is the overview slide of agentic AI. Looking at major incidents in this case. So we released one in Yokohama that is for post-incident reporting. Effectively, out of the box, we generate an automated PDF of a major incident, post-incident report. It captures the summary, the impact, the resolution notes. But if you wanted to elaborate on that post-incident report or capture additional fields and information using our AI, you can now do that with the post-incident report agentic AI orchestrator. So that's sort of a basic use case. We're obviously still trying to build them out there and kind of build more comprehensive solutions. So on the left-hand side here, you see a handful of ones that we have coming in our roadmap. The first one here, the idea here is for major incident communications is that you no longer will need to have a human having to worry about that aspect of a major incident. The agentic AI will look through the metadata of the incident and understand who is the audience in different situations. Is it technical audience for like a Zoom issue? If you're working at a financial institution, is there impact to the business that your executive leadership needs to be aware about? It'll accordingly know who to contact and also draft those communications for you. So that kind of takes one less critical responsibility off of your agents while they're actually focusing on the technical remediation of issues. The next one is effectively a war room assembly agent, right? Knowing who to put on those war rooms. Eric showed you a little bit earlier on in the foundation and crawl phase. On-call scheduling is definitely a critical component of that, as well as, so that's used based on a predictive intelligence, right? So you're looking at the assignment group or the short description or the description of an incident. Today, our predictive intelligence can predict what on-call scheduling groups to surface. For example, if it's a network issue, it's going to surface the network team and possibly the hardware team because it could be either a team that needs to investigate and remediate the issue. In this case, it'll create those war rooms effectively, on the fly based on the information. It'll bring all the right folks onto the call, as well as maybe the requester or the caller of an issue. Maybe you have like a technical operations center. You need to get those folks on the call. For my previous experience was at a bank. So whenever we had technical issues, we needed the business as well to QA their applications. So it'll be intelligently getting all the right folks on the call. The third one here is status summary and generation. Effectively, that one is something that's along with the roadmap item of ours is to build a better system status page. It was something that we sort of POC last year in our pack in Q4. A handful of customers are definitely asking for it. Some of them are building their own in-house status pages. So what I'm talking about, if you've ever seen Amazon's, they do a really good job of it. It's a simple status page. Anytime any of their resources, applications or modules have issues, you go to the status page, you bookmark it, you don't contact support, you don't submit a record, and they don't get hundreds of those for their agents to have to go through. It's a centralized channel of information. So that's the idea here, is that if an executive wants to go to the status page and hit a button and say, recap everything from the past 2 hours, the past 3 days, whatever different variables they want to put in there, they'll be able to get this information from the status page, from the major incident record, and they'll be able to effectively talk to each other. The agentic AI will be able to proactively update the status page. Again, so a human doesn't have to do that. Post banner announcements to your employee center, things of that nature when there's critical issues. The idea is that to eliminate the flood of requests that come into an agent and train your organization to have a centralized location where they can look for any sort of critical issues that may be going on, or maybe upgrades, or you're upgrading your Microsoft suite over the weekend or things like that. You can use that with our status page generation agent. And then impact assessment is effectively better able to suggest what is the blast radius of issues. Looking at, again, the metadata of the incident based on past incidents, a lot of customers ask us what defines a P1 or a P2. So we're trying to better be more prescriptive about that using our AI agents in different situations. Again, looking at downtime, like if there's a upcoming change happening for the weekend for a network issue that happened a year ago, our AI agents can predict what might be the downtime you might need for that change request for that weekend to repair a major incident that occurred throughout the week. And the resolve agent, I'm actually going to show you this one live in a couple seconds here, along with a categorizer agent. But it is what it sounds like. It's going to go through historical incidents that have been resolved, knowledge articles, maybe catalog items, and build together a comprehensive resolution plan step by step for the agent. So I'll show you that in a second here. I think we're ready, actually. Yeah. So the right-hand side is just kind of some of the key components of these AI agents, how they work together. I don't know if I have time to show you the orchestrator. Maybe I'll just go into that in the back end in a second. And while I have these browsers open, folks, if you haven't seen already, just as a reminder, we have all our events on this community page here. I'll pop this in the chat here to share with your organization so you guys can hopefully keep attending these and finding value. So, and Keka, while I pull up the demo, anything that you want to add for the audience in terms of any excitement or buzz around agentic AI you're working on for your areas?
Not on the it's so we're, in addition to kind of what you're showing there, we're taking a look at how we can assist the service desk agents with um basically like an AIS like teammate, if you will, to basically help with doing that initial triage bit. Because one of the things we've heard from customers is around the majority of the time spent by a lot of their agents is around that back and forth of just trying to get clarity on exactly what is this issue that came in. It was, and is it actually an incident where they're having truly a problem, or is it a request that they're actually asking for? So trying to get that intake process kind of shortened so that they can actually do the harder work of actually doing the resolution. That's something that we're trying to explore right now, kind of in a nutshell. Dagon, real quick, if you don't mind, I wanted to just show something here before I
Yeah.
send it back to you. So
Yeah.
I think it was who was here asking the question? It was, let me go back and look at the someone was asking. I apologize, I can't. Oh, I think it's Raquel was asking about private chats are hidden. And so, yeah, so let me just show that very quickly here. So, yeah, I just pulled an example here. So, we have an example here where Beth is talking again to Abel here, and she wrote a little note here saying trying to help agent looking at KB seems to be running slow right now, and she wrote back to Abel, hello Abel, how are you doing or whatnot. So those are her internal chats that are going on there, and what that means is that if I were to swap over to Abel, which we could take a look and see his chat there now, then we can see he doesn't see any of those little internal chats that happened there. So yeah, they are definitely kept hidden, and it's just mainly for you to kind of be tracking and everything. So hopefully that helps answer the question, Raquel. Also, one other thing I wanted to kind of show here, because I think this came out in a fairly recent, in our most recent release here, is we do have the ability as well too now. We do have certain features that are there. So one of the things I didn't have a chance to kind of showcase here, but we do have is like around response templates. But there's new slash commands that are available in the chat. So if you do slash like this, you can see R/R will give you response templates. So as an example, I can do /R like this, and I've got one for, hey, good afternoon, good morning, and that'll just kind of be your boilerplate and give you that. There are also slash commands for like transferring to a queue or transferring to another agent. So or even search KBs. So there's a lot of new capabilities within the chat itself that have been built in. So this is something that we're constantly working on, trying to make the chat a lot more interactive, a lot more of a place where agents don't have to worry about going to completely different places and changing their context. They can stay within the important context, which is their customer, their end user, while getting the information they need to do their job. So yeah, just wanted to make sure I called that out. I forgot that we had released that. That was at the platform level.
Good call out, Keka. And While you're sharing, I was going to say, do you want to just maybe briefly mention the guided tours? I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit here, but definitely worth mentioning. I
Oh
think,
yeah.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So if you're like a newer agent to well, whether it's to the role at all or to using Service Operations Workspace, one of the things that you may find helpful when you're jumping in here for the first time is trying to understand, okay, how does this work? Like, what is this form that I'm looking at? Are the salient points? And under in the upper right hand corner, you'll see this Show Help icon. And when you go there, you will see a section here around guided tours. And so we've got a couple different guided tours here. One of the first ones here that would be helpful to go through is overview of interaction record. And when you click this, it will actually walk you through and explain to you, hey, we're going to just give you a quick tour of the interaction record page. And so you can kind of go ahead and go through that tour. It'll pop you through the different steps here of the tour. There's like 5 of them here. Give you a quick rundown on like the tab for details, for related records, what's important, what's there. Also, what is the compose section for is generally for like note taking and whatnot. So, it basically just walks a new agent through using Service Operations Workspace in these different forms. And every record, like incident, problem, change request, and interaction has its own guided tour. So just definitely feel free to take a look at that. And obviously you can complete these, at your leisure. So it's just one other way to kind of make the experience a lot more, well, it's educating you and guiding you along the way rather than having to take you off focus to go, like, for instance, open a new browser tab to go look up docs around how to use interaction in Service Operations Workspace. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, definitely helpful. Thanks, Keka. We see one question for you, Keka, here. I think about custom slash commands for chat from David.
That is a good question, David. I can't answer that directly for you right now. I'd probably have to get back to you on that because, as far as I know, a lot of those commands that we have here were ones that were just shipped as a part of core platform. So I would have to check with that team to see if, yeah, it's possible for you to create your own. I'm sure you're not the first to have asked that though. So please allow us to get back to you on that.
Yep. And then one more, Keka, is Annette's asking, I can answer as well. The guided tour is part of standard licensing. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. It's definitely, it's definitely there. We should
Thank
not be charging you for help on how to use our products. So yeah, that's definitely there.
All right, and then one more we got anonymous. It's just a general question about AI, how does it reduce administrative repetitive tasks? That's the idea. I mean, automation is nothing new. We've all been doing automation for a long time. I see Eric's getting in there as well to answer. The idea with AI and agentic AI, and I'll share my screen again. At a high level, for those who are sort of newer to it, the idea is that you have a fleet of AI agents or a AI teammate, right? In this case, what I'm going to show you is that we have an AI agent workflow to handle incidents using a series of AI agents that work together via an orchestrator, right? An orchestrator is the brain of the operation, and then it can use a myriad of different agents to fulfill small, medium, or large tasks. Typically, you want to go for the medium to larger size tasks, things that are easily or repetitive in nature, and then have higher volume. So what I'm sharing here for you briefly, I know we have about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, but this is an overview of the AI Agent Studio that is very easy and intuitive to work with. What I'm going to drill into here at the top, you can see is things that we're shipping out of the box, things like triage and categorize incidents, the post-incident AI agent I mentioned earlier, and then investigate and resolve incidents as well. So I'm going to open one up here just so you can get a feel for what it looks like and how you would set this up. But it's all pretty much plain text, right? You're not coding the AI agent to work. And what I mean by that is you see here in the instructions to tell the AI agent how to operate. This is for, investigating and resolving incidents. So step one, checking for related catalog items that might help resolve the issue. Step two is looking for incidents and knowledge articles. So fairly basic and simple one, but could be a high value agent for your organization based on the, how many incidents. I mean, some of your organizations have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of incidents per month, right? So you can kind of get an idea about some of the efficiency and time save there. After you define the agent, you would just define the trigger, what kicks it off. Is it manually invoked or is it autonomous? Does it run on its own? Of course, different scenarios would have different implications, and you would define them accordingly. And then lastly, displaying it is like where would it appear? Does it play on the form? In this case, we're going to have it in the VA. So let me switch over to Amelia and I'll just show you two quick use cases. One of them is going to be the categorizer agent, which again is going to look through, it's a little bit more sophisticated than our predictive intelligence. It's going to look through previous incident records, the metadata on the incident record, and then determine different fields for you. So it saves a bit of time. It's a level one-on-one thing, if we're being honest here, but it's something that, again, based on the volume of incidents, could save your agent's time. And less administrative work and more focus on the technical resolution, I think, is what everyone aspires for. So I'll create this new incident and just take a couple seconds, but it's going to comb through again the orchestrator, and I'll flip to the details, and we'll see a bunch of these fields start to get filled out: service, configuration item, category, I think assignment group as well. So just give it a couple seconds here. Speed is something, obviously, I think with any new technology over time, we always look to improve the speed. I think that'll happen naturally. Definitely ServiceNow is investing in that, and I think all goes well. This should fulfill in a couple seconds here. And then the other thing I'll show you is the incident resolver agent, where we'll kind of interactively talk to it. And you can see here, we got the assignment group filled in here, and then the CI, and then category, and then over here in our work notes, AI's, kind of validated that to put the information there for us. So again, this is sort of a generic, vague example, but just show you the kind of capability there. And then if I assign the incident to me, we'll see this notification here change from a 1 to a 2. It's going to effectively let us know that it's got some information for us or some actionable items it can do. And that will be, you can see it change to a 2. So we'll click in here and it will say it's asking us, do we want to initiate the investigate and resolve agent? And you can see here, it's effectively kicking through that orchestrator workflow. It's invoking those agents. You can see it's getting details of incidents, catalog forms, and different URLs of those catalog forms. And what it'll initially do is it'll come back and it'll tell me that it has found a series of catalog forms. Let's see this one, found frequent report. Yeah, so it's found catalog items, right? It's found a catalog item for me. But I'm going to say that I don't want a catalog item. I actually want it to return knowledge articles and incidents. So look through past incidents and knowledge articles and generate a resolution plan. So you're kind of working through it and helping it help you, right? So hopefully here in a couple seconds, it'll generate a comprehensive step-by-step resolution plan for the agent to follow. And then while that does that, we got 2 minutes left, Eric. So I'll just queue you up, and when this populates, I'll hand it back to you to close this out here. And FYI, folks, I want to give him a round of applause. It was Eric's first live on ServiceNow webinar. I think he did an amazing job with the demo. So great job there, Eric. Awesome. And thank you all for being here, showing the support and enthusiasm for the team and what we're showing you today. And then there we go. It worked for us there pretty well. So you can see here, based on analysis of past incidents, knowledge articles, here is a proposed step-by-step plan for how to resolve the issue. And then it'll say, if it looks good, it'll add it to the resolution notes. And it's going to add it over here at the bottom. Actually, I think it's going to add to the activity feed, plan the next steps. Showing you the plan, but you guys get the flavor and the idea. There it is. There's our resolution note and plan for the agent to resolve. But with that, Eric, with a minute left, I'll hand it back to you. Thank you all for the time.
Thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for your attention. Most of all, thank you for your business. We appreciate it. Again, remember that survey is coming out shortly. We'd love to hear your feedback on what information we can provide you to make you more successful. And we look forward to seeing you on further live on ServiceNow events.